Hello. This video will explain the instructions for the Color Connotations project for Mr. Jensen's ELA class in Unit 3, which explores multimedia texts while we are reading our current novel, The Book Thief. I hope this is helpful, but if you have any questions after the video, feel free to come and talk to me about them. I'd be happy to help you out. Let's get started. First, what does this word mean? That's an ironic question because denotation means the meaning of a word. So if you look up a word in a dictionary, what are you going to find there? Whatever you find is the word's denotation. So denotation basically means definition. Denotation is just what a word means universally for everybody, no matter who you are. For example, rock means one of these. So when you see the word rock, you know exactly what it is referring to. The word tree has a denotation of one of these things, right? Now this is actually an image of a tree, it's not a real tree. But when I say tree, hopefully you know what I mean. That's the denotation of the word tree, the denotative meaning, okay? Family is another example. You know what a family is, probably, right? You might not be able to come up with a definition that might be found in the dictionary right off the top of your head, but you know the denotative meaning of family. You know what school is, right? You know what America is. You know where it is. It's an area of land. That is the United States of America. That is denotation, or what we call denotative meaning. Okay, I'm going kind of quickly on this because it's not the most important thing. Because not only do we have denotation with denotative meaning, we also have connotation, or something's connotative meaning, right? So rock means one of these things, a stone type object, right? But a rock makes me feel how? I don't know. A rock reminds me of what? A rock is associated with certain things. I don't know what. The rock proper. What do you think of the rock? I don't know. What is the rock associated with? How about these markers? What do these markers make you feel? Perhaps nostalgia. These were very popular when I was in elementary school. Maybe you feel repulsed because you smelled them so much that you got sick from these scented markers. How about sunset at a beach? Does that remind you of a fun vacation with your family? Or does it remind you of a fight you got into with somebody during sunset at the beach? I don't know. It depends on the person. That's one key difference. Denotation is what something means for everybody. Connotation is what something means for individual people that's different from others. How about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? This reminds me personally of high school, because I would make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich almost every day to take to school and eat at lunch. Maybe it reminds you of going into anaphylactic shock the day you found out you were allergic to peanuts. I hope not, but maybe. This is connotation. It's what we think of, what we feel, what we associate something with when we see it or think of it or encounter it. It's not what it means. It's the way it affects us personally. Family. Like we talked about earlier, you know the definition of family, but when you hear the word family, you might have different feelings, right? Some people hear the word family and they're filled with warmth and affection. Others hear the word family and they're filled with bitterness and anger. I hope you're in the first category. School, same thing. I hope you're in the first category. I hope you feel warmth and affection. I hope you enjoy school. I hope I help you enjoy school. I hope you don't hate it. But either way, what school is different than your connotation with what school is. America. People have very complicated connotations with America. When they hear this word, maybe they are filled with pride and excitement, or anger and hostility. Both certainly exist. Now, let's think about the way things look. Are there connotations not with what something is, but just the way it looks? For example, does this slide, a white rectangle with the word connotation in black letters, does this feel different than this slide, which is the opposite? Does your connotation change as I move from this slide to this slide, where the text is suddenly a bright red? Why does this feel different? How about this? With a nice calming blue and the words in italics, right? It's still the same word, it's just the word connotation, but it probably feels different than the last slide. This might bring up some specific memories or feelings, or perhaps nothing at all. What about red with black text? This looks a little bit scary, a little bit intense. But I changed the font from Times New Roman to Comic Sans. Now it's not so scary, it's more of like a playtime red. I don't know. These are connotations. What feelings, what emotions, what gut response comes with the change in appearance? Specifically, the colors. Think about the colors and the way colors affect you. That's the goal of this assignment. For this assignment, you'll explore the connotations that different colors carry. You should reflect on the feelings, emotions, mood, memories, and general impression that each color gives. You'll create a slideshow, probably in Google Docs, to present the connotations of 9 different colors. For full credit, your slideshow must include, first of all, a title slide that has your name and an original title. If you just call it Color Connotations Project, that's boring. Be creative. Aside from your title slide, you'll also need 5 slides that explore personal connotations of specific colors, meaning you show the color, you give it a name, and you explain your connotations with the color. What does it make you think of? How does it make you feel? Finally, on that same slide, you should write down someone else's connotations with the same color. This means you'll probably have to interview somebody or maybe even do some research, but show that color, just the plain color without anything else, to somebody and say, what does this color remind you of? Here's an example. I called this color Fiat. When I see this dark mustardy yellow color, it reminds me of my first car, which is a 1968 Fiat. The color of this nice yellow makes me feel nostalgic. I think of the car, I feel nostalgic, I feel a little bit adventurous because it was from a long time ago. It's from a long time ago in my life. I explored a lot of different places in this car, so I have this memory and these feelings that comes with not the car, but the color. Because the main thing in my life that was that color is the car. Now, I showed this color, just a blank slide without the picture of the car, without any text. I showed this color to my brother. I said, what does this remind you of? And he said, it reminds me of this little cloth book I had when I was a kid, and it was a poetry book. That's what I think of. Well, how do you feel? I asked. Well, I feel some nostalgia, because it's something from my childhood. I also feel a little bit melancholy for some reason. I don't know if they were sad poems, but there's something about knowing of the book, but not having it, that makes me feel that melancholy. I don't know. This is a great slide for the personal connotations section of your presentation. Now, of course, you can't do this. You're in 8th grade. You probably have never even owned a car, let alone a 1968 Fiat. And in fact, neither did I. I made all of this up for this slide. After your 5 slides about personal connotations, both yours and someone else's, create 4 slides exploring the connotations carried by characters from our class novel, The Book Thief. Okay, so again, include the color itself in your slide and the name of the color. But then what I want you to do, first of all, is give me a direct quote showing where that color appeared in the book, right? Tell me how you know that the people in the book would even experience this color at all. I don't know if they would experience Fiat, the color. After you give me the quote with a page number, I want you to explore the connotation that the color carries in the book for either Liesl Meminger or Rudy Steiner, one of those 2 characters. Don't tell me how Death feels about the color, how Hans feels about the color, how Rosa feels about the color. Anybody else, just Liesl or Rudy, pick one of them. An example would be The Other Side of Sandpaper. There's a whole section in the book called The Other Side of Sandpaper, right? What is the other side of sandpaper colored? I don't know what color it is. But when Liesl sees that color, not when she sees the sandpaper, but when she sees that color somewhere else other than the sandpaper, she probably remembers the sandpaper, right? What does she think of and what does she feel when she sees that color? Here's an example from The Outsiders, which you probably read in 7th grade. I called this color Randy Anderson. And notice that I didn't make my text black, I made it white so that it's actually readable. The black text on this darkish blue was too hard to read, okay? But this is more of a medium blue. It's not too dark, not too light. And I called it Randy Anderson because when Ponyboy sees this color, I assume that he thinks of Randy's Mustang. Randy drives a blue Mustang, and that's the car that Randy and his friends hopped out of and jumped Ponyboy from. And they left him on the street. Well, actually, his brothers came and kind of rescued him. But either way, it left Pony kind of traumatized. So when he sees this color, whether he sees it on the Mustang or not, maybe he sees somebody with this color shirt. Maybe he sees carpet this color, God forbid. But I'd bet he would feel pretty anxious, pretty scared. It would remind him of this traumatic assault that he experienced. That's what I think. The quote is, "We stopped at the Tasty Freeze to buy Cokes and rest up, and the blue Mustang that had been trailing us for 8 blocks pulled in." That's from page 41 of The Outsiders. So that's what I want your novel investigation slides to look like. This will get you full credit if this class were about The Outsiders, but we're not reading that book right now. Now, hopefully you're familiar with primary and secondary colors. The primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. The secondary colors are purple, green, and orange. Now, for this assignment, I want you to do up to, meaning less or equal to, 1 primary color, so red, blue, or yellow. I say up to because you could pick 0, either 0 or 1 primary color. Same thing with secondary colors. You could do up to 1 secondary color, being orange, purple, and green. And all the other 7, it says 6 here, it should say 7, those other colors should be what I'm going to call interesting colors. To make them interesting, I'd say pick a different shade than just the regular primary blue or primary red. And also, name them. Give them unique names like Fiat or Randy Anderson. Let's look at some Crayola crayons to explore what this is like. Right? Here are a bunch of examples of bad colors. Or bad, not bad, but boring names, okay? Gold, lemon yellow. Whoever first said that, maybe it was interesting, but now it's kind of cliche. Violet blue, blue gray, orange red, yellow orange, sky blue, green, turquoise blue. These are just color names. They're so boring, right? The other ones, however, are very interesting, such as Purple Mountain's Majesty. I'm guessing that whoever named that crayon color saw the color and carried a connotation of the Rocky Mountains toward sunset. Here in Salt Lake City, if you look toward the east at the Wasatch Range, right as the sun is beginning to set, the mountains will often glow a purple or an orange or a pink or somewhere in between all of those, and it's gorgeous. This is a wonderfully creative name for a crayon, right? How about wild strawberry? Yep, maybe that's the color of wild strawberries. I don't know. I don't know what I would have called that color. But these are great original names. What I want you to do is create names like those names. Don't use those same names. Don't say Blizzard Blue. That's not creative. You're just copying Crayola at that point. If you use mulberry as a pinkish red color, I know that you weren't being original. You weren't being creative. What I want you to do is be original and creative in the names of your colors the same way that Crayola was creative with their colors. Here's the rubric that I'm going to use to grade your assignment. You'll either get a point or miss a point if you have a title slide that has your name and the title of your presentation. You'll need 4 slides about colors from the novel, right? This says lethal or death connotations. That's wrong. That'll be updated in Canvas. But you should have a quote with the page number and either Liesl or Rudy's connotations with the color. And finally, not finally, but next, you should have 5 completed slides. For a slide to be completed, it needs to have your connotations and someone else's connotations with the color. Finally, this wasn't in the slideshow yet, but here it is. Form matches content. Form is the way something is presented, and the content is what is presented. So the color of your slide must match whatever you're discussing in your slide. The same way that my fiat slide was yellow. The slide was totally yellow because I was talking about something yellow. The slide was blue when I talked about something blue, right? If you're saying, oh, this nice light brown taupe-ish color reminds me of drinking lattes with my friends, and the slide is just white with black text on it, like this one, you will not get a point, I'm sorry. But it's 5 points for that criterion because it's very important that you actually do this. Remember, this unit is about multimedia communication. So if you're only communicating in one way with the text, you're missing out on a very important way to communicate your ideas with your audience, which is to give them a visual aid to help them understand. I could have just talked about a dark mustardy color and described my feelings about the car, but showing you that color itself and a picture of the car helped you actually understand what I was talking about instead of just the words alone. Here's a recap. Your first slide should be the title and your name. Slide 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 should be your own and someone else's connotations. That's 5 colors, right? Slides 7, 8, 9, 10, those are 4 slides about either Liesel's connotations or Rudy's connotations with the colors that are found in the book. You also need a quote to prove that that color is actually in the book, and include a page number to show me where in the book it comes from. Again, I want you to choose interesting, unusual colors and be creative with the names. One final note, you can't use the same color twice. If you do, you won't get credit for both of them. You'll get credit for one of them. Okay? So be original, be creative, vary what you're explaining, and I hope this all makes sense. If not, let me know. I'll see you later. You rock.